good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
What's greetings, Earth?
Same genius time.
Any demographic I identify with.
I don't believe you murder.
I think an ignorant voter and a non-voter
crazy what he did. He took the military out
are
before
one and
he
the
took
same.
the civilians.
Same
Who does
genius
that?
channel.
Under his watch.
What
Know
has
something.
he done about police reform in this country? Nothing.
Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome to Unsolicited Genius. I am your curator, Carlton Ennis. On today's show, we will talk NAACP travel advisory for Black folks in the state of Florida, my Miami Heat, Jimmy F. Butler, and Cleopatra. We hope to give you something to ponder.
Listening to
What is up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to Unsolicited Genius. Headliners. The NAACP Board of Directors issued a formal travel advisory for the state of Florida, telling Black folks that the DeSantis administration is hostile toward Blacks, Latinos, and the LGBT community. So, of these ethnic, racial demographics, be warned. Why? So, if you don't know, amongst the list of things that has occurred with Governor Ron DeSantis and the state of Florida, they have banned critical race theory, which in and of itself is a debatable concept. It's a college course, if nothing else, but clearly our politics have made it much more. But anything that is perceived as teaching critical race theory has been banned in the state of Florida. Because according to DeSantis, it teaches that the country is rotten and that our institutions are illegitimate. The NAACP has issued the advisory because Ron DeSantis has barred instructions suggesting that anyone is privileged or oppressed based on their race and skin color. He's blocked AP courses related to African American studies, stating that they lack educational value. And most recently, issued written legislation that will fine some, possibly imprison others who employ and or transport undocumented people. That one called for the League of United Latin American Citizens to also issue a travel advisory for Latinos in the state of Florida as well. So Black, brown, queer, be warned, be advised. I say that, be advised that Ron DeSantis, for all intents and purposes, does not welcome you. So what does that mean? Why do we talk about it? So on the surface, yes, the advisory from the NAACP is a decree. You know, I don't imagine that Memorial Weekend in Florida won't be popping for Black folks. I can't imagine that anyone will be moving from the state of Florida who's Black or brown. From my vantage point, what the NAACP is saying is that we have a problem. And Ron DeSantis, as governor, soon to be running for president, is spearheading that problem. So as I take all this in, being from Miami, being born, raised, college, life, love, and everything in between in the state of Florida, where does all of that sit with me? So one, I'll be in Florida later this year. at some point this year. So advise me as much as you want, I'll be there, right? But really what it means to me, what it says to me is that fear is prevalent in our country. Not so much fear that, well, I take that back. Fear is present in this country. Fear is present on multiple sides from multiple vantage points, whether you be Black, brown, LGBTQ, or white. Everything that DeSantis is doing is predicated on fear. To talk critical race theory, I think it's being led by replacement theory. I think he is representing supremacy. I think he is representing ignorance. I think he is doing whatever he can do to capture the attention of the far right across the country in order to support his campaign for president. And just as Donald Trump played on the sensitivities of his supporters, the marginalized, the ignored, DeSantis is playing on hate, and hate is based in fear. When we talk about critical race theory and him saying that it teaches the country is rotten and that our institutions are illegitimate, we got problems. That is not far from the truth. You know, rotten is a strong word. Illegitimate is a strong word, but the United States of America is not without sin. They killed Martin Luther King and JFK. We have plundered cities, communities, or countries across the planet. There is corruption on every level of government institution. Most recently, we got huge question marks, if not red flags, if not facts, around Clarence Thomas, who is a Supreme Court justice. We know what we know about Donald Trump. We know what we know about Jim Crow. We know when George W. Bush was president, and we went into Iraq predicated on weapons of mass destruction that did not exist. We know we were victimized by Osama bin Laden, but we also trained and weaponized or provided weaponry to Osama bin Laden. There is the Jim Crow era, there is slavery, there is poverty, there is homelessness, there is healthcare disparities. There's a list of things that are wrong with the United States of America. And an unwillingness to accept those facts is also willful ignorance, in my opinion. Because if you deny what it is, if you deny who you are, how do you ever put things in place to fix it, to do better, to be better? And so, barring instruction that teaches what happened in American history is to deny that history. And if you deny that history, you ultimately are at risk of repeating that history. Check the energy. We had a civil war a long time ago. History, stats, and facts was not my best subject, so I can't tell you how long ago it was. It was over 100 years ago for sure. Probably 200 at this point. We are in 2023. But needless to say, we had a civil war. It was ugly. It was dirty. A lot of people died. Brothers fought brothers. Neighbors fought neighbors. Predicated on, slavery and economics and some other things. But when you fast forward to where we are today, it's a lot of people dying. A lot of neighbors killing neighbors. Just had a brother kill a brother. Caught on a doorbell cam a couple weeks ago. There have been more shootings, more random shootings. New Mexico, young man just kind of out and about with a gun, just start shooting people. Children in schools are dying. Black women and their mortality rates of at giving birth is high. Black babies high. Latinos go without care. They go without attention. We got kids dying and being raped and kidnapped and at our borders. And so we have problems. And so denying those problems only further perpetuate those problems. And so Ron DeSantis, in his effort to be president, in his effort to be this image, this persona that he is driving home, is only perpetuating the evil that has always existed in our country. Now, of course, he doesn't see it that way. If I was in the state of Florida as a podcast, I would probably be in trouble even saying Ron DeSantis did something wrong, because they got legislation around who can say what when in the state of Florida. So I don't stay there, so I can speak on it freely. But I will say that his fear will only make it tougher for all of us to live here. Because what he's doing in Florida, Texas says, hold my beer, let's see if we can top it. Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, other states will join this race too, if they haven't already. And to all those who dislike, hate those that are different from them, what I can tell you is, if what DeSantis is doing or attempting to do in Florida, if that were to become our country, you wouldn't like it here either. Believe that. Whether it's the work that the jobs that the immigrants do that Americans won't do, whether it's the athletes and entertainers that are on your screen, whether it's the people who contribute in a myriad of ways, in medicine, in law, in education, in technology, and engineering, and science, and spacecraft, and aeronautics, and every industry that makes America great, allows America to thrive. The continued mistreatment of the minority communities, the diminishment of the minority communities, makes all of that go away. And so to know that every dynasty fails, every dynasty falls, be it Egypt, be it Rome, be it pick a era. It all comes to an end because of things like this. Because ignorance, arrogance, and fear prevail. And it all comes apart as a result. So DeSantis will learn in one way, shape, or form. whether it's in the short term between now and his bid for presidency, or in the long term when all these things become par for the course in our country, they will learn, he will learn that he was wrong. And on that, we'll take a break and be right back.
Listening to
Welcome back to Unsolicited Genius. What in the sports? Let's go eat. Can't start talking sports without talking Miami Heat, without talking Jimmy F. Butler. I have been clear on this show that I respected, feared the Boston Celtics. I fear them no more. I fear no NBA team anymore because of who my Miami Heat are. Who they are. I don't know if I said that right. I fear no team because of who the Miami Heat is. That don't feel right either, but y'all get my point. The Miami Heat are balling. They are playing the best basketball collectively, from the starters to the cheerleaders on the bench. Talking to you, Udonis. Love you, brother. Go Gators. They are playing the best basketball that, even with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, that I believe they have ever played. Wade, Bosh, LeBron, exciting, won 2 championships, got to 4 finals. Take that. Look, they earned it. Saw him a couple times with great basketball. Take nothing away. Wade County for life. That being said, Jimmy Butler is showing what the heart of a champion looks like. May Kobe Bryant rest in peace. For all of the newer generations to the sport of basketball, Jimmy Butler is not Michael Jordan. He won't be Michael Jordan. There will only be one Michael Jordan. But Jimmy Butler is showing what the heart of an athlete like Michael Jordan, the heart of an athlete like Kobe Bryant looks like when it comes to the will to win. Coach Spo, people were calling for his job at the end of the season. I was not one of them. I didn't feel like it was his, I felt like he was doing the best he could, or doing what he could with the talent he had. But the job that he is doing in these playoffs, if ever a story needed to be told or a presentation needed to be given on what does great coaching in NBA look like, for those who are watching these Miami Heat, that is what they are seeing. So, I'm not into the game of predictions. I'm into the game for enjoying and yelling at my team and yelling at the screen. That being said, I believe the Miami Heat have what it takes in terms of will, desire, skill, and coaching to win the whole damn thing. Now, will they or won't they? To be determined. As of right now, it looks like they will eventually be facing the Denver Nuggets. Keep in mind, both teams have series to close out. A team near defeat is a dangerous team, so I expect Boston to fight hard. LA is currently playing for their playoff future, playing for their season. So we'll know more about Denver's future tonight. We'll learn more about Miami's future tomorrow. But should it be Miami versus Denver in the championship, ratings might be low for everywhere else in the world. I could care less. I would expect great basketball to be played. But I'm rolling with my Heat. Shout out to Jokic, the Joker, baller. Court vision, passing, and as much as he, looks awkward in his movement, dude quick on his feet. So I don't know what our answer would be, our being the Miami Heat, what the answer would be when it comes to playing Denver. But we go with Spogo, and I'm confident that he'll have a plan if you don't have one already. In other sports news, Ja Morant talked about it once. All I'll say is I hope he figures it out. What was interesting in all the talk about him and, another situation with guns on Instagram is, there's a lot of talk about him being accountable to what the team is paying him, 40 million, whatever that is, what he got or what he's getting. But LeBron James is the first active billionaire athlete, and there's a lot of folks that felt, maybe still feel, that Ja Morant had that level of star power. And so he, in turn, with these shenanigans, isn't messing up 40 million. He is messing up $1 billion. The future is still to be told. Basically the definition of the future. And so, we'll see. It doesn't make sense to me. I have no ability to identify with it being that important to show off on the gram. But he is who he is, and he feels and believes what he feels and believes. I hope that he can let that part go. Several people have talked about maturity or lack thereof. And, I've been there, Joe Nitty, he been there. Craig, Mo, we've been there. We've been 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. We've been there. But we also have not been in a place where we had the potential to make $1 billion on our ability to play a sport. So good luck with that, Ja Morant. A little bit of entertainment, a little bit of sports. I saw Air. And to have something else to talk about with what I watched, the sports dynamic in Air demonstrated, showcased the power of Michael Jordan, man. Not have social media access, the access to anybody's life, to not have had access to the lives of any individual in the 80s, 90s that we do today, we wouldn't know what, energy Michael Jordan commanded as he went from meeting to meeting, as he went from college to the NBA, as they, saw what star power he had in him. At least for me, I saw it as it revealed itself on the court. It was later that I even had any inkling into who his parents were. But Air demonstrates what the power of belief can do, in particular when you have it in yourself and when you offer that to others. Because what Michael Jordan showed us on the court, what they showcased in The Last Dance, the ESPN special, and what I gleaned in the movie Air, is that if he didn't believe in anything else, he believed in himself, and so did his mama and his daddy. And in that belief, we got what we got on the court. We're getting what we're getting in these sneakers, and every athlete after him is attempting to do. So Air, feel good movie. I love 95% of what Matt Damon does anyway. So check it out. Are you entertained? What have you all been listening to? Send us a message. Who you like? Who popping right now? I myself went way back. I won't say way back, but I went back, probably way back. We are 2023. So I went way back and listened to some George Michael. Pop, R&B, star. May he rest in peace. Listen, George Michael has the voice of an angel. I heard it, but to allow myself to sit with it and experience it, that brother could sing and not just sound good. Lyrics were on point. Careless Whisper. Teacher. He even had the duet remake of As with Mary J. Blige, remake Stevie Wonder's As. Underrated, maybe, not talked about enough, maybe. Maybe his brave ethnicity lifestyle had something to do in terms of, more music lovers, in particular R&B, embracing him. I don't know, but if you find yourself in a space where you want to hear a beautiful voice and kind of just lose yourself into the emotions of some music, pick up any George Michael. I just thinking about some of what I listened to this past week, he had me in my feelings. And to have listened to know him, to have listened to him over the years, I knew I liked songs from him. I found myself lost. I found myself lost in memories. I found myself lost in emotions. One of the albums in particular that I listened to was George Michael's songs from the last century. I think they were remakes. I don't know that all those are his songs, but he sang them well. He sang them exceptionally well. And it offered me a true musical experience. So said plenty. I think I'm a bigger George Michael fan today, now, after this last little experience than I was previously. But, voice of an angel, lived hard, lived wild, loose with it. I don't know his whole story. I don't know the details on his death. I know it was early. I know it was untimely. I know it was unexpected. He dabbled in, some of them things. In terms of, drugs and other things, but who am I to judge? Wish you were still here. Thank you for what you gave us. What have I been watching? So late night up, couldn't sleep, watched Cleopatra on Netflix. I don't know all the controversies on the internet. I know some folks mad because she was blackety black. I know some didn't like Jada Pinkett Smith did it. I know some didn't like it just because some people just don't like liking stuff. That being said, I enjoyed it. I thought it was well done. A lot of the story I heard in some shape or form. If you ever watched the HBO series Rome, you see some of that stuff. If you read about Egypt, you read some of that stuff. But I thought it was good just kind of seeing it unfold without a whole lot of fanfare and other stuff. Just kind of telling the story of Cleopatra as these historians could retell it, and how Jada Pinkett Smith could produce it. The thing that really stood out to me, though, is that even ancient Egypt, Rome, BC, that the little political shenanigans have been going on for a long, long time. So to talk about DeSantis, the left, the right, Republicans, Democrats, Russia, war in Ukraine, China's intent to be global, all these games, all these talks, all these moves, it's not new. It appears to be simply a condition of the human experience when you have haves and have-nots. Because as much as we talk about Cleopatra's race, history might want to reflect on Cleopatra's beauty, at least in this biography, documentary, she was a brilliant political tactician. And she lived in an Egyptian society where women could do that. And what Rome hated was just that this woman had power over their men. What you gonna do? What have I been reading? So me and the fam did the audio book of Nubia, The Awakening by Omar Epps and Clarence A. Haynes. Fictional story, takes place in the future. Complicated story as it depicts a world, excuse me, it depicts a world that's gone a little awry. Well, not a little, gone a lot awry. And what's left of those who could survive the global environmental catastrophes, floodings and earthquakes and calamities, and what civilization existed like on the other side of that. So it gets into the story of African descendants, lower class citizens with natural superpowers that reveal themselves, and the chaos that ultimately ensues as politics plays itself out in wanting power. So, good book, entertaining story, compelling story. I won't give the plot away, but check it out. We all know Omar Epps from a list of movies: Love and Basketball, Juice, The Wood, and others. So check it out. It was a good read. And on that, we'll take a break and be right back. Welcome back, Unsolicited Genius. Before we get out of here, I want to remind you to like, subscribe, and follow in all the places and spaces that we are: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok. We out here. We out here, out there. Shout out to super producer Joe Nitty. Thank you, my brother. Love you for everything that you do today, yesterday, and tomorrow. Thank you to our sponsors, Legacy Wear, your legacy awaits. You can find them at www.legacywearus.com. Megacore CBD. Check out last week's episode, Conversations with Carlton, Dr. Marcus McCray. He is our CBD or our Megacore CBD sponsor. broad spectrum hemp derived CBD, the way nature intended. You can find them at www.megacorecbd.com. Aura Rainwater, getting them on the show more sooner than later. Hydrate and Elevate. Find them at www.aurarainwater.com. Carlton Ennis Coaching. Be your light. www.carltoninniss.com. Just so y'all know, I'm doing workshops now. I got the Ultimate Spark Leadership Development Plan workshop, movement, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you to those that came through to the workshops. We got a couple more coming up. So learn more about me. Go to www.carltoninnis.com. See what I do. Thoughts of genius. So to talk coaching program, talk what I do, one of the ideas or concepts that I hone in on is self-awareness and the power that is contained within. Self-awareness is not self-conscious. It doesn't mean what you're wearing, what you how you're smelling, how you're looking. It's not being conscious. It's not being worried about you and what you do. It's being clear on how you do what you do. Self-awareness is knowing how you show up, understanding how you come across in the things that you say, in the energy that you project. Being self-aware gives you the ability to choose how you do what you do. Being self-aware allows you to choose to have healthy relationships. It allows you to choose who you allow into your life, who you allow into your space. Self-awareness tells you that if you feeling agitated and frustrated and annoyed and bothered and angry about something, it has more to do with you than any person, place, or thing outside of you. And instead of spending your energy trying to get other person, places, and things to change and evolve to you so that you feel better, less frustrated, less angry, less agitated, self-awareness says that instead of focusing on them, focus on you, focus on how you're feeling, why you're feeling, and what you can do about those feelings so that the feelings that are bringing you down are no longer bringing you down. With self-awareness, you learn how to release the energy of hate. You learn how to release the energy of anger instead of projecting it on the people, places, and things around you. Self-awareness says that what I'm feeling is about me. And with that, this has been another episode of Unsolicited Genius. Join us next week, same genius time, same genius channel. And for whenever you are, good morning, good afternoon, good night.
You are listening to
Unsolicited Genius. Unsolicited Genius. Unsolicited Genius.
Craig D. Molat.
Unsolicited Genius.
You are listening to Unsolicited Genius.